physios, I welcome you all to our channel Physio Vidyapeeth. We are back with another lecture on motor control. Okay, so we will be starting our fifth theory of motor control. Okay, and the name of this theory is dynamical action theory. Okay, so again it is one of the most important theory which was given to explain the concept of motor control. Okay, so my name is Vijay Kumar and let's get started. Okay, so one thing which I want to say that I know I am making my lectures quite big and there are a lot of videos for a particular topic. Okay, I am giving you a large number of lectures for one single topic, but I will be saying that these lectures are very important because once you understand the in-depth concept of each and every motor control theory, you will not forget them your whole life. Okay, so I request you to all to watch and understand each and every theory in detail. Okay, so let's get started. Dynamical action theory. Okay, so after the reflex theory, hierarchical theory, systemical theory, okay, the dynamical action theory is based on the fact that how our body dynamic or the synergistic system works. That is, different cells work together as a common unit. Synergistic action means that a number of things are together to perform a particular function. Okay, so the dynamical action theory of motor control began to look at the moving person from a new perspective. They choose their own new perspective, that is the synergistics, or which we can say the dynamics within the physical world, which means that how the pattern and organization that we see in world come into begin from their orderless consequent parts. See, I will explain. Okay, so we will be explaining it with an example, and example is heart. As we know, heart is our most important organ of our body part. Okay, heart is made up of a lot of cells and these all cells work together to perform the common function, which is the pumping of blood from the heart. So this was the main basis that how the different things are working together for a common goal. That is, which means that how the pattern and organization we see in world. We see that the heart pump the blood, but how it come to begin from their orderless consequent parts, that is the heart cells. Okay, individual heart cell is not having much importance for us, but when a lot of heart cells together form the heart and pump the blood to different part of body, it is very important. Okay, so this was the main basis behind the dynamical action theory. Then it says that when a system of individual parts, see, the cells of heart represent the system of individual parts which come together, its element behave collectively. All the cells of the heart behave collectively in an orderly way. See, all the elements behave collectively in a orderly way. Thus, there is no need for higher center. And once they gave this theory, they said that we do not need any kind of higher center which is sending the information to lower center and further the lower center were doing movement. We do not need such things. So this thing or this theory is based that how the consequent elements work together in a systematic and orderly way for the task of our body, or we can say the movement. Okay, the dynamic action or the synergistic perspective also try to find the mathematical description of the self-organizing system. So we will be also studying some mathematical description which is very simple, and in the mathematical description the critical feature that we examine is the non-linear property of system. Okay, so here we will study one non-linear property of system. Now what is non-linear property? A non-linear behavior is one that transform into new configuration. So the behavior which can be transformed from one configuration to another configuration is called the non-linear behavior or the non-linear property of our system. Okay, for example, into new configuration, and when it change into new configuration, whenever we change a particular variable. Okay, so once again, a non-linear behavior is one that transform into new configuration when a single parameter of behavior is gradually altered and reach up to a critical value. See, we are first of all in a particular configuration, and now from that configuration we are changing a variable, changing, and once this change reach to a particular critical value, new configuration is reached, and again we change the particular variable, we change it, again it reach to a critical value and the next configuration is met. Okay, so we can see it in this diagram, and I will be adding graphics for you. Okay, so this is the graph, we can say velocity and behavioral state. Okay, so this line is velocity and this is the behavioral state. Okay, so it was regarding the walking of animal. Okay, so as velocity increase, the behavioral state is changing. You can see in the graphics, first of all, when the velocity is low, that is up to this part, the animal is walking. Okay, so you can see in the graphic. But when further the velocity increases, walking become fast, which is called trot, which is the next configuration. Okay, as you can see in the graphics. Then further, if we again increase the velocity, the trot turns into a gallop, which is we can say very fast manner of propulsion. Okay, so like this, the velocity, okay, velocity is the factor or the variable which we are changing, and that change is further changing the behavioral state, that is walking to trot to gallop. Okay, so animal with increasing velocity change its behavior state from walking to trot and finally to a gallop. Okay, so this is about the change in configuration with the change in particular variable. Okay, so you need to understand that how the variables are changing, which are resulting in change in behavioral state. Dynamical theory suggests that the new movement emerges because of critical change in one of the system that I have explained. Because of the critical change in one of the system, which is called control parameter, and that variable which we are changing is called control parameter. And in this diagram or this example, this graph, we are watching that the velocity is changing, so definitely velocity is our control parameter. Attractor state may be considered as the preferred pattern of movement which are used to accomplish ADL. See, after this we need to just understand two more terms about the dynamical action theory. Okay, which are, first of all, is the attractor state. In simple words, attractor state is the most convenient pattern of movement which is done to achieve a particular ADL, and this attractor state changes with different tasks. Okay, so different tasks have different positions or the movement which are very easy for us. For example, to drink water, I will be holding a glass and drink like this. I will not be holding the glass like this. Why? Because this pattern or this attractor state is more convenient and less energy consuming. So attractor state may be considered as the preferred pattern of movement which is used to accomplish ADL, and another example is walking speed of animal. And now the degree to which, okay, the attractor state can change is called attractor well. Okay, so again I will be using the example of animal. Okay, so pattern of movement is called attractor well. See, whenever we are doing movement, a particular task have a movement which is most preferred, and that most preferred movement is called attractor state, and the degree to which or the flexibility of attractor state is called attractor well. Okay, so how easily we can change our configuration of the attractor state, refer to its flexibility, which is called the attractor well, which can be either shallow or deep. Here the shallow well means the movement is unstable, that is we can easily change the movement pattern, but in deep well the movement is very stable and it is we can say difficult to change the movement pattern. But most of the times researches showed that whenever we want to choose or we want to enter into a new configuration, the deep well again become unstable. Okay, so you need to understand it again. What was attractor state? Attractor state was the most preferred movement to do a particular ADLC. Attractor state may be considered as the preferred pattern of movement used to accomplish ADL. See, next, the degree to which there is flexibility of change in preferred pattern. That preferred pattern is either flexible or not flexible, that is we can change it or not, is called the attractor well. And there can be two conditions, either we can change that pattern or we cannot change the pattern. If we can change the pattern, then it is shallow well, which means it is unstable movement pattern, it can be easily changed. While if it is deep well, it is very stable and it is difficult to change the movement pattern. But Kelso and colleagues have shown that stable movement pattern, see, stable movement pattern, that is the deep well, also become more variable and unstable just prior to the transition to new movement pattern. That is the movement which we are doing it, if it is very stable, that is deep well, but if we have to change or we have intention to change or transit into a new configuration, okay, so it get changes to unstable well. Okay, that is the shallow well. Okay, so we can, in simple words, we can say that in deep well the movement pattern is stable, but research show that the deep well or the very stable movement pattern also become variable and unstable just prior it has to enter into a new configuration. So at last, researcher has documented an increase in variability prior to emergence of new and more stable pattern behavior during the acquisition of movement skill from children and adult. Okay, so another example which I can give you is that when we are newborn, okay, so we are walking in the quadruped position, which is very stable, that is deep well. But as we grow, we start walking on our legs, that is bipedal. Though this has the less base of support, but we can do ADL very easily in this posture. So that deep well again become variable or unstable for the acquisition or the changing to new configuration. Okay, so this was about the next theory, that is the dynamical action theory. Okay, so now we will be studying about the clinical features and limitation of dynamical action theory. So now at last we will study about the clinical implications and the limitation. First, clinical implication. It is very simple that as we have studied that our particular movement or any kind of movement occur as a result of interaction of different system, not just a single system. Okay, so while evaluating or assessing a particular patient, the physiotherapist must take into account all the related systems. Okay, so we can read it that movement is an emergent property from interaction of multiple systems. Okay, and not just one system. So physiotherapist must take into account all the related system while assessing the patient. Second is stresses on understanding the physical and dynamic property of body, that is velocity, which is very important. See, in case where a particular individual has loss of motor control, that is any kind of muscle paralysis, here we can use these physical and dynamical properties to make the patient more functional. For example, in case of weak or paralyzed shoulder muscles, okay, the abduction is very difficult, as we know that deltoid and supraspinatus help to do the abduction. But if one of muscle is paralyzed, then we will ask the patient to just do like this, that is we will be using compensatory movement, and we will be asking the patient to do it with more velocity, so as the patient will become more functional and do the movement. So it stresses on understanding the physical and dynamical principle of body, that is velocity, which is further important for dynamic of movement. It may be good idea to encourage the faster movements in patient to produce a momentum which will help the weak patient to move with greater ease. Okay, so by this we are adding some momentum, okay, so that the particular individual can do the movement with an ease. And at last we will study about the limitation. Okay, so according to you, what will be the limitations? Okay, so here there is no account of any nervous system. They did not use any kind of previous theory, that is hierarchical theory or reflex theory, which was more toward the central nervous system. They have no account for this. The dynamic action theory presumes that relationship between subject physical system and environment in which it function is the main determinant of movement. So they assumed that the body dynamics and environment is the main factor in the motor control, and they do not talk about nervous system, which has fairly unimportant role. So this was one limitation of this theory, and with this we end our fifth theory, that is dynamical action theory. In our next lecture we will study about our next theory, ecological theory of motor control. So till then you keep on studying. Thank you to one and all.